and in this year, it will be, the target that I set was around 600 million. We're going to exceed that target. And we hope that about 3 billion people will be aware of the day by 2016. 3 billion people aware of this day by 2016. And we believe that we'll achieve that goal. So it's, it's been very exciting. It's amazing. Howard Buffett just came forward and has given us $10 million. It's an enormous amount of money for the next 3 years. But also, I continue to work with some of the largest corporations in the world who I also strike licensing deals with, who also give us money. The model I use is I treat Peace One Day in my mind as if it were a Formula One car. And actually, I'm on the, Peace One Day is on the front of the Lotus F1 car. So if you look at the Lotus F1 car, you'll see that the front of that car is the Peace One Day logo. But when I sort of look at it like a Formula One car, it's like, because I'm not educated, I have no academic background, I have no qualifications, but I've always liked motor racing as a young boy. I always was fascinated by it, and I noticed that the car runs around the track, and it's run around the track because it has logos on the side. That's why it runs fast. That's why it goes fast. So that little thought made me think, well, could a similar model be created with Peace One Day? Could this peace car effectively, if you like, move because I effectively build a relationship with a corporation that they give me the finance to run the car, and I give them something in return, which they can then communicate to their consumers and to their workforce about their investment in relation to a more peaceful and sustainable world, without them controlling anything that we do or having any editorial over anything that we do. And that's exactly what we do. And that's why we're moving. And it's exciting because ultimately it's all about inspiring and empowering and engaging. But I'll stop there because I've given you the spiel. That's what we're doing. It's working. It's just amazing. Scotland. Where did I go in Norway? I went to this beautiful place in Norway, up in the north, I think it was. It's not Skopje, is it? No, that's in Russia, isn't it? Anyway, I had the most beautiful time in Norway. Anyway, but so look, let's answer some of your questions. I mean, I've told you a little bit about Peace One Day. Let's go over to you. What do you want to ask, or what can I tell you, or
Yeah, I just heard about Peace One Day this morning, and I kind of struggle to grasp what it is you do. I heard you have a lot of, you're an institution, and you launch coalitions, but what separates you from other charities?
Well, excuse me. Are you struggling now to know what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about it, but can you elaborate a bit? What is it you do?
Well, listen, what we do. So we created. I mean, listen. There wasn't a Peace Day, but there's a Mother's Day, and there's an AIDS Day, and there's a Christmas Day, and there's a whatever kind of a day. There's lots of days, and we all really care about peace. So. And we're talking about peace, and it's a big deal. So let's have a day when that happens on a global scale. A peace day, fine, you get that. That's, you've seen the film. And on that day, incredible things can occur. You decrease violence, you inspire, you empower, you create windows of opportunity for polio vaccinations, you get all of that. So on the day, you can save a whole lot of lives, and you can create incredible constructive dialogue, and our world can come together in a way that it's never come together before, potentially, separate from politics and religion, a day of global unity. The United Nations, the charter begins, we the peoples, we the peoples. Well, when are the peoples going to step into the equation, and when are we going to unite? And that's what I believe the 21st September is about, the day when our world comes together as one in the name of peace and sustainability, and there are a million benefits to that, as you know. We can talk about that for hours and hours. We know all of the benefits. So that's really it, yeah? And what we want to do is we want to tell people that the day exists so that they then do things. The theme that we had running was, who will you make peace with? So there might be somebody in your own personal family that you've fallen out with, a brother that you don't talk to, a sister you don't talk to, or a dad or a mum or whatever it might be. You might have a friend that you haven't spoken to. This is a day where our families can come together and we can say sorry to my brother. That improves the quality of the relationships of our entire family, that we can make peace. I think the other, one really important thing is, like, listen, the great war that humanity faces is not one with guns. There's a terrible problem in Syria. There are other problems all over the world, like the Democratic Republic of Congo, Eastern DRC, where I've just come back from, one of the most horrific, violent places in the world, where millions of people, 5.4 million people have died since '92. So there are these terrible situations that are going on. But actually, the great war that humanity faces is the one in your home, and the one in your school, and your university, and in your street, and in your community. The same as mine, and the same as the richest places in the world and the poorest places in the world. Domestic violence is the killer. It is the war that humanity faces. It is the war. And it's everywhere. And 1 in 3 women in their life is going to be injured. 1 in 3. That's horrific. And that's going on around you right now. And me. And that's really what Peace Day is all about. It's all about, and that's why the largest coalition of domestic violence organisations that's ever been created is centred around Peace Day. The largest coalition of non-governmental around Peace Day. A coalition of faiths where people are praying all over the world is centred around Peace Day. Same with students, universities, media, corporations. So what this is all about is about unity, it's about intercultural cooperation on a global scale, which survival. Yeah, this is about us singing together as one, when we've never, ever done it. And if we could stop it for a day and reduce violence on a global scale, what would that do to the young minds that haven't become cynical yet? That would grow up going, well, actually, our world can unite. We do stand together as one in the name of peace and sustainability. We are connected. We are communicating. We do care as a global community about the plight of humanity. And a day isn't the answer. It's not a panacea to the world's problems. Of course it's not. I'm totally realistic. But it is something beautifully profound that we must aspire to and create, and that's really what it's about. So what sets us out from other charities? Well, nothing really. I mean, apart from the fact that we created a day of peace, and we're going to make sure that that day is known by the world, and as a consequence of that, beautiful creativity happens, which is significant and profound, and we're actually not even a charity. We're a non-profit organisation, so everything that we get in, we spend. There is no profit. We're like, this thing called a social entrepreneur. We're here to do well and do good. That's what we want to do. We want to do well in the world, and we want to do good as individuals. I want to pay the max I can. I want people to grow up knowing that, you can have a nice car and you can drive, you can have your own home and you can wear some cool jeans. You don't have to wear a holy jumper. You don't have to live in a crappy place. You know what I mean? You don't have to drive a bashed up car. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need people to grow up and think, hang on a minute, I'm going to get into the world of peace and sustainability. I'm going to be a social entrepreneur. I'm going to do well and do good. And then we get that sort of, those incredible young minds that are coming out of university to work in this area because they can know that it's a great place to be for all kinds of reasons. Instead of just going down the kind of classic route of banking and, then legal and, some of the big areas of society that pay well, which is what there's that kind of brain drain within the kind of key areas where we actually need incredible human beings to work in. And that's the area of peace and sustainability. Fortunately, I think that's happening, and it's very exciting. And, yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Yeah, certainly did.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, we have a question here.
Was there a specific, event in your life?
Sorry?
Was there, a specific event in your life that inspired you to start Peace One Day?
Was there a specific event? I think there were lots of events, really. I mean, when you say that, I sort of kind of see someone's fist coming through a door one day, which was really very scary. And I saw there's a whole bunch of images that flash to my mind. Being when I was young, I think. I could see lots of images now. And those are the events that I think made me question everything that was going on around me. And then, of course, you become a little bit older and you start watching news and you see lots of other things going down, you know? And you kind of go, well, really, what are human beings about, you know? I mean, what are we really all doing? Why is it this way? Why are we behaving like this? Why are people suffering on such a massive scale? Why are we just destroying something that's just so profoundly beautiful? You know, human beings, and the forests and the lakes and the rivers and the seas and the fish. And you know what I mean? All that stuff. I mean, you're young. We've all jumped in the water with a mask on. You know, it's like it's so beautiful, the world, and you know, sort of to see it being just destroyed is just a terrible thing. And I think those are the things that just make you go, right, okay, well, I'm going to have a go. You know, I might not get it right, but I'm going to have a go, definitely. And I think that's the amazing thing about all of you. You know, it's like, you know, business is changing so rapidly, and it's so exciting, the way in which, you know, the sort of whole sort of corporate social responsibility, you know, the big companies like Unilever, led by these guys like Paul Polman. You know, you look at Paul Polman, the CEO of Unilever, look at what is driving that guy. Look at companies like